what goes on behind closed doors. It's
Yeah.
a whole different thing to what's known to the public.
Yeah.
And with that, welcome to the podcast. Because the mic seems running, so
I see peaks.
I see peaks. That's always a good sign. Might as well. But on that note, talking about closed doors, I mean, we can decide if we leave it in or not. We were just golfing, We were the posh boys.
I love how
from the
casually
block.
you're saying that. We were just golfing. Something we do every week.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think for me it was my first time golfing. Did you golf before?
I hit a golf ball before, but never, no, not like this posh.
Sadly, we didn't have like a carry-on bag. Like one dude with his orange fucking tuned ass
Ooh.
whip, man.
Jeez. He could get a mortgage just for his bag. Jesus fuck.
Facts. Man, like people on the golf court definitely dropping some cake on the golf equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were the odd ones out. I think there was so much money there. Jesus fuck.
Oh yeah. But it was a lot of fun, just being out in nature, hitting some balls.
Yeah, it's really beautiful actually to see the greens and shit. And the people were nice though.
Yeah.
Like, I do want to mention that they were actually really nice and they even helped us, gave us tips. So we wouldn't look like total fools.
Yeah, that was a nice thing.
Yeah.
That was a nice thing. So yeah, overall, if you... That's also one of those things that are still kind of COVID conform, like golfing.
Yeah, because it's an outdoor sport and
Yeah.
it's an individual sport.
Yeah, you can always keep distance.
Yeah.
It's a nice thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
definitely nice.
don't be afraid to try something new.
No.
Like, even this is not something we're gonna pursue, but still it was fun to do.
Oh, hell yeah. It's just, I feel like we just don't have as much like new experiences since COVID started. So doing shit like this or like something you never really expected you would do can really bring you a lot of joy, and it's also a good thing to do on a day. And it wasn't expensive either.
No, getting the lessons was expensive. Yeah, they tried to persuade us to get a 600 euro class. I'm like, fuck no.
So it's like we're the first one. We're there for the first time. I mean, we dressed pretty posh, so
Sure.
we dressed to
Yeah,
fit in. But it was still like, it was still something, man.
Yeah, definitely fun though.
Yeah, hell yeah, definitely, man.
Now on to the age-old question. How was your week?
Man, good. The weather was a blessing.
True, we actually hang out twice this week,
Oh yeah.
besides the podcast. What the fuck?
Oh, weird.
I'm leaving, bye.
Yeah, no, this podcast is not happening this week. So yeah, that was nice. I mean, like also, COVID wise, it's just hanging out is just like not the norm anymore.
Yeah.
So it was definitely nice to just also be in a park for once, see friends,
I did feel weird at night when I came back home.
Yeah, no, I feel it.
Didn't feel right. Even though I had a lot of fun and I'm glad I did, and if I would be able to go back in time, I would do the same shit.
Yeah.
But still felt wrong.
True, but at the same time, like this shit has been going on for so long that I always mean stay safe, take all the measurements, but you also go crazy if you don't see your friends every once in a while,
Yeah.
or like socialize, because that shit is crazy.
Yeah,
too.
of course you gotta socialize, but also seeing all the shit in the park, like we were somewhat safe, I guess.
Yeah,
But there were people who no,
that's
not
true.
safe.
Also, a lot of big groups. I mean, we were like somewhat a group.
Yeah, and just people who joined one group and then joined another group and then another group.
Yeah, nah,
That's
it's true. Definitely not COVID safe.
No. I feel so weird saying hi to people and kind of denying like any sort of physical contact.
Yeah,
Always feels kind of awkward.
always. But like, it's also like COVID. Like it's this weird thing where we got so used to, like I'm doing the bow every once in a while. Now. I don't know what to do.
Yeah,
Maybe like the Asian culture was ahead of us with the move.
true. Well, it's very respectful to bow for someone, right?
Yeah, very respectful. You can't really mess it up. Like you can't really make it all that awkward.
True. You can't miss a hand or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh?
And
Hello.
there's a bird outside the window. I tried this thing, you know, like you know what an Elster is?
Yeah.
Bird, like the ones that like apparently like are like thieves or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I did this experiment. I tossed like a shiny pen out of this
Aren't those
window.
the crows though who steal the shiny shit?
I thought it was Elster, like the. It's like some. I think it's.
I think there was
part of
also
crow.
something with an Elster, but I thought always the crows were the one, or crows. What is it called? I think those were the ones who went after shiny shit. But maybe Elsters as well. But how did the experiment go?
Not really much. Like I toss it outside, and I know that I have 3 of them living in that big tree,
Mhm.
and so far none of them took my gift.
Shit.
But that's what you hear. Like they sometimes just land on this like side of the attic, and they scare
That's
me.
nice.
Yeah.
Like that's nice about this city. We talked about it today. That you can still wake up with the sound of birds chirping.
Oh yeah, everywhere. It's
Yeah.
super loud too.
Yeah, that's pretty special.
Yeah. It's also whenever like I try to record something like in the morning, like every voice recording has bird sounds in the background. It's a good vibe though, I gotta say.
Now, I think I mentioned going back in time before, but I want to come back to going back in time. But
Okay.
in order to go there, I need to give a little anecdote, I guess,
Oh yeah,
because
sure.
I had my exams this week, right?
Mhm.
Both my written exams and my oral exams for Spanish class, and for my written exams, I almost didn't get in because I didn't have an ID because my ID card was suspended. I don't know.
Yeah.
I needed to file for a new one, and I was still waiting for my new passport to come in, but I didn't have one at the moment. But you need to show one when you enter the exam hall. So I literally almost showed the podcast as evidence to show that I'm me, to kind of show like, because I do have a student card with my photo on it. Like, hey, would I really go the length to create a fake podcast online with a fake identity just so I can make this fucking Spanish test? I don't think so. And luckily I got in, so that's nice.
It's like, did you show the podcast or?
Yeah, I did show it, but they were just talking like, okay, this time you can go in, but next time.
Fuck out of here, man.
Yeah. And then later at my oral exam, and then I realized like, hey, I can have a conversation in Spanish now. Cool. And then I started thinking about language. This is why rare going back in time comes into play.
All right.
Because I was thinking, like, let's say 300 years ago. Well, what happened even 300 years ago? 18th century.
Wasn't French Revolution? No, like America was 1776.
Colonies. The population was growing, I think.
Yeah.
And like no, but like fastly growing. And I think the first melting pots were getting there. But okay, let's just say I'm on my way to look for a new colony, and I want to get some bread.
Okay.
Like, would I be able now, if I go back in time, me, and I go in the Netherlands, and I say in Dutch, can I have 1 loaf, please? Would people be able to understand me? Because we have written writings from back then, and we know about dialects, but we don't know shit about accents. Like, would they be able to understand our modern language back in the day, like 300 years ago?
That's a good question. I mean, if you do it here in the Netherlands, then I don't know how that language like evolved over the last 200-300 years, but I think they would understand parts of it, and you can always describe it, I feel like.
Yeah, but I was just wondering where the line then is, where people don't understand you anymore, like what time period.
That's a good question.
And we don't know, because we can't really go back in time. And there were no voice recordings back then either.
That is very true. I mean, also if I'm thinking of Germany, you know, like, I mean, the whole Middle Ages shit was going on, but then eventually, like, they turned German from Latin, right? Like, that's where it's from?
No.
Or, like, I think there was also, like, a Germanistic language, but, like, isn't it, like, a weird combination?
Yeah, it's a combination, because you had the German folks, and then the Romans, and...
Yeah. But I don't know, that's a good question. Like, probably, like, also, like, 400 maybe?
Yeah, I don't know, but I was just thinking about it. Like, even if we could time travel, how would communication be like?
It's a good question. I also wonder that with, I mean, Spanish and like Portuguese, like they brought that to Brazil, right? And that was like 15th century.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if they would still like somewhat could have a conversation with someone from like nowadays.
Yeah, right. But
That's
that was
interesting.
something I thought about.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking more about language, and I remembered a pretty fucking cruel, somewhat funny, weird thing that I had in my middle school. Because across our playground shit was a graveyard. And whenever you would say, like, oh no, I can do that, my teacher would say, yeah, can do it. It's across the street next to I will not do it.
Well, it's a good metaphor. Gotta give him that.
But that was pretty fucked to say that to young children, but also kind of funny.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I cannot do it is laying right there next to I will not do it, so you better do it.
It's one way to do it. Man, I remember. I don't know why. Like I remember the middle story now that you said it. I remember one day we were like all playing outside,
Uh-huh.
and we just saw like a bunch of cop cars and like ambulances and shit pull up. Like right where our schoolyard was next to like the financial institute of the city. And someone got shot there.
What?
And we're like all like seeing this like police cars and everything. We're like, alright, cool. And
This
then,
is happening.
yeah, we heard about it like the day after. I don't know, someone
Jesus.
just stepped in and like shot the dude that was in the entrance, man.
What?
Fucked up.
Jesus.
Fucked up.
Oh.
I don't not quite like a teacher metaphor.
No. But also interesting placement of a middle school.
Yeah, that is definitely true. But I guess you don't really expect it to happen at like a financial institute. Like it wasn't even
Yeah.
a bank. Like it was just like from the state.
Yeah, okay. But still, a weird demographic to put next to each other.
Oh yeah, that is definitely true. That is
Yeah.
definitely true.
Also, during our like breaks, or recess, we needed to be quiet because there was like someone being buried.
That's so fucked.
It's pretty fucked. Yeah, kids, now be quiet, please. There's someone being buried right now.
Especially kids who like have most of their life left,
Yeah,
and then like burying people who don't have any of their life left.
yeah.
It's a weird contrast, but that's what
Yeah.
life is,
Or going to the teacher of I think there's a funeral going on, or at least I hope there's a funeral going on. Because if there's not a funeral, then I've witnessed something that is pretty fucked.
That is true. But this whole like, I feel like funerals or like graveyards in general, right? They have such a weird vibe, Like there
Yeah.
are certain places where you feel different.
Mm-hmm.
Like the aura or like the energy of the place, if you want to call it that. But something feels different about those places.
Almost off. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
But like, isn't it weird that like places like that exist, right? Where like you get a feeling when you are in a certain place. Like, for example, also when you explore like an abandoned building, you get this feeling inside of you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's that same feeling if you go to like a different abandoned building, right? It's that, or if you go to a graveyard and like,
Yeah. It's also a feeling of uncertainty, I guess,
could be.
in a way that you, with abandoned places, don't know what necessarily happened before. Don't know what's still there.
True.
Don't know what there's a lot you don't know, and I feel like at a graveyard too, because then you're confronted with death, and we don't know shit about death.
That's also true. That could be. But like in general, like those places are weird. They're like places where you really feel different.
Yeah,
It's strange that like just like a place can do that to you.
true.
But it's the same like if you have a beautiful landscape, then you also feel different.
Yeah, the golf court.
The golf course. Man, I found something out that I didn't know how to process. Right? I don't know. I think I talked about this like some time ago about like the whole hollow earth theory.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like the dude that flew over and like apparently like saw green shit. There's something more to it. I did some
Okay.
research on it and it kind of shocked me, but apparently there are no satellite images from Antarctica and Google Earth animates that area.
I mean, it is pretty hard to get a Google car there to take the shots.
No, but it's about satellite images.
Yeah, I was confused with Street View with Google. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I also don't know shit about satellites and positioning of them. And
No, me neither. But apparently, like, they don't go further up than the 60th parallel, like in longitude, I think, or lane. I don't know. One or the other. And then like the same thing also happens downwards. So like we have like certain like tiny pieces, and the rest of Antarctica is actually animated.
huh.
And
But does it go for more places in the world or just Antarctica?
I think it's the poles. Like it's both
Yeah.
North and South Pole. So like I think maybe it could be like the magnetic field because it like splits at the poles.
Yeah.
That satellites can't go over there.
Makes sense.
But it's a weird thing. And apparently there's also this like I think it's called Data Privacy Act. Now I heard it in a on a video with like a scientist like was explaining about these things. Then I like tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. So take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But he said that there's this Data Privacy Act that was signed by the NOAA and the like European, I think it's like national satellite fucking bullshit. I don't know. So something that has to do with satellite images. And the equal part in Europe, they actually released this Data Privacy Act in 2006 that does not allow for satellite images over the 60th longitude and below the 60th longitude to be shown to the public, because the reason for that is that they would be scared that the satellite image would be so high quality that troops could take advantage of those satellite images.
Interesting.
That's what he said, but I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I couldn't find if it's actually real or not, so take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But like when he said it, I was like, what the fuck is this shit? With the whole, there's a hole in Antarctica that leads to inner Earth type of shit, you know? Like,
Yeah.
the fuck? But who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows?
Good question. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Gotta get down there with a boat. Might as well go to Antarctica. The mission.
Oh, man. Oh, also this week, I celebrated my mom's birthday. She's 50 now.
Yeah, congrats.
And funny thing happened. Because in the Netherlands, we have this tradition where you kind of put something up in the front yard to show like, hey, this person is old now. And
Nice.
as we were doing that, we kind of, well, my mom went there herself, but she kind of locked herself up in her bedroom. And then her friends came over and they also went to her bedroom, but I didn't know. And I just went in the house, walked upstairs, and there was just my mom chilling in her room with her friends. And I was like, the roles are completely reversed now from back in the day.
That's
like,
true.
what is she gonna do next? Come over to me like, yeah, can they please sleep over? And, yeah, that's gonna create such a big mess. We'll clean it up ourselves. Yeah, that's what you said last time.
Can we go to McDonald's? No, we have McDonald's at home.
Oh, it was such a weird thing to have the roles reversed where your mom is chilling with her friends in her bedroom.
Yeah, like that's I don't know, it's a weird scenario for some reason. You don't ever like have that scenario that much.
No.
Like they're just usually chilling in the living room, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know. But strange. But nice that, you know, like making it 50, that's the accomplishment, you know?
Yeah.
So that's nice.
And we still were able to celebrate it during COVID. Safe, of course. We did celebrate it safe. But yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's a shame, like, you know, from this pandemic, how it really limits, like, certain things, you know? Like, you can still have all the fun, you know? But, like, there's this, like, certain thing that's, like...
Yeah. Was also a weird thing, because we had people coming over, like, they took turns coming over.
Yeah.
And also my grandparents came, and I wanted to keep my distance, of course, because they're old. They're, like, 80. And my grandpa wanted to hug me, and then he said, like, yeah, well, I'm gonna hug you because living without being able to hug my grandchildren is not living anyway. I thought, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you thought about it, if that's your point of view, then sure. That's also one way to go about this.
Yeah, also very true. I mean, it is a weird thing, you know, that how Big Brother government is kind of like, you know, how government was kind of like there to like provide for us and look out for us. And now it's this weird thing where we're not allowed to be outside during a certain point, right? And that's like from the government. And it's for safety, right? And I think it's a good thing. But like it's this weird moral pendulum where it's like, should a government really be able to say that? because they were just like they were founded to provide, and they still provide safety, but they also limit you.
Yeah, but I think this is where we need to see the bigger picture, because why do we have a government to protect us?
Yeah.
What are they doing by implementing these rules, protecting us so the hospitals don't get too full and the ICs and shit?
Yeah.
But it's a good question, because it does feel really weird. And where is the line that they can tell us to just do, if that makes sense? Like, where do we draw the line of, hey, this is taking too much of our freedom?
Exactly. And what's interesting about this in general, like even if we look at like the lockdown things here, you know, like it's never like, oh, this is gonna be till June. They always make it like, oh, we'll review it in 2 weeks. We'll review it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, at least what they're doing here now is they're just saying like, yeah, we're gonna indeed like review it at this date, because in the beginning they did do it the other way around, but they don't want to make fake promises, right? Because you don't know what the data's gonna be like in a month. So we don't want to, or the government doesn't want to say like, hey, you can go outside again on that date, and then having to say like, oh, guess you can't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get it, and it makes total sense. Like I would do it that way too. Like if I would be forced to like make decisions.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing where we're definitely gonna see certain powers that the governments gave themselves now. They're not gonna change that necessarily when COVID is over. Does that make sense? Like,
we don't know. We're gonna see.
True, but like an example, like I mean, of course, states is always a different thing than Europe. But like even when 9/11 happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like this National Safety Act or something that was, you know, all the airport control got like super more enhanced and everything, you know, and people said, oh no, we're gonna just do this for a bit because of the threat, and now it's like also constant, you know. And
Yeah,
I don't think it's a bad thing either, but I think we could see something similar, like if shit like checkpoints and shit would happen nowadays. That
was actually an interesting question that again I overheard in my girlfriend's minor, the critical thinking one. The teacher asked the group like, do you think everything is gonna go back to normal? And I just thought, I may hope not. Like, we've been through a fucking pandemic. I hope we've learned something and we're gonna implement some new things. Like, we all should be a bit wiser, right?
True.
It would be very weird if we go back to the old situation, because then if a new pandemic hits, we know fuck all and we didn't learn from this situation, right? So I sure hope so. Things are not gonna go back to normal. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. But I think question is like we talk about, you know, like Big Brother thing, you know, and like I mean China is getting kind of crazy with their security camera equipment and shit, you know?
Fucking crazy, yeah.
Fucking crazy, and like.
But then again, face masks kind of work against
true.
The facial recognition.
That is true, but it's a weird thing. Like I saw this great documentary on Netflix the other day, Connected. I don't know if you've seen it.
I don't think so.
It's like it's this dude who's like, you know, going after the thing like everything is connected. Like, but what's up with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was at this museum for like security cameras, which is like what the fuck even is this, right? But what he said is fucking crazy. The CIA worked on facial recognition technique in 1963. What? Like that's like way earlier than I would have expected, if that makes sense. Like 60s? I mean, and the program is still classified to this day. Like they just have like 2-3 files there.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is still like completely classified.
That is pretty early on. Because I don't know, I just always like to think of these things in what was possible in VFX, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because they usually have the, you know, top-notch technology. And they didn't track faces back then, I think. So that is pretty early on.
Yeah. And 63, I mean, that's when Kennedy was murdered.
Yeah.
But like, that's early.
That's before the moon landing.
Yeah. So, you know, but that makes you think as well, like, if they started this shit in the 60s, how good is it nowadays, you know? And he actually, like, there's actually facial recognition software going on right now for animals. Like, there's this farming method that like measures the emotions on like pigs, cows, and chicken faces or like body language to then see, oh, this is a happy pig. And then what kind of like the black, like they didn't say it in the episode,
Yeah.
but they hinted at it like, oh yeah, but like a happy pig is worth more. It's like, I don't think you're doing this for the benefit of the animals. It kind of sounds like you're doing this for the benefit of like, I'm gonna put a happy pig sticker on here, certified happy pig.
Yeah, and can you even prove that facial expression or body language actually proves that an animal is happy? Can we even prove if an animal is happy?
I have no idea.
I can read minds.
I don't know.
They might seem like they can say they seem happy. Like if that was the conclusion, sure. According to this research, they seem happy, but
yeah,
not that they are.
No, of course not. But I think that's like the closest we can get to it.
Yeah.
At least nowadays. I mean, I don't know what the fuck's possible in the future. Like, who knows if we can like somehow like with our computer chips in our brain chip into a pig and then see how they feel.
Eating meat is it's not gonna be part of the future.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is very true.
That's people gonna look back at us and think like, ew, they ate animals? How cruel.
Yeah, but I think especially during COVID, a lot of people are also switching their diet.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Like I also really got more aware of my diet during COVID. Like
yeah, and also just the availability. I can only speak for the Netherlands here, but like what supermarkets have to offer as replacements for meat. Like the variety is way bigger now. Before you didn't have that much to choose, like tofu or something. But yeah, I never had tofu. I don't even know, but it doesn't sound appealing.
Yeah, that's very true.
Other than when you have a nice vegetarian burger with some satay sauce in there or something, where you're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want to try that. Like then the step is a little bit smaller.
Now the only thing that needs to happen is like it needs to become a little bit cheaper. For like because right now like the meat prices, we talked about it last time, fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Like how cheap meat really is these days, and like we also just hinted about it when we were in the grocery store just a couple of hours ago. It's crazy in like what world of abundance we live in. Like it's bizarre. Like if you would put someone from a third world country in like a Dutch grocery store or like American or whatever the fuck,
yeah,
they'd be like, yo, what the fuck is this,
True.
And like we still have so much like waste and garbage, and it's a weird utopia if you look at grocery stores by itself.
Yeah, it is a luxury that we shouldn't forget to appreciate,
but we all do.
Yeah,
because that's our source of food is a grocery store, and
just
here.
How markets work, it's so fucking weird how certain food, like you see food but you don't necessarily see where it comes from. Like it's so fucking weird. You have like shellfish, right?
Yeah.
If you go to a restaurant in the Netherlands or if you buy them in the Netherlands, you always get them from like Asia and then spread out in Asia. And if you go to Spain, you're way more likely to actually eat shellfish from the North Sea, which is right next to the Netherlands.
Yeah. It's all marketing.
Ain't that fucking crazy? It's
so bizarre. And like, even if we see fucking countries all developing their products in another country and then ship them to their country and it's cheaper. Like all those fucking German car manufacturers have major factories in China and Asia, and then they ship it to Germany, and it's like, this shouldn't be cheaper. Like it shouldn't be. So I don't know. Like our economy is really strange at this point. Like the way it's so global and the way it's so, like, even if we look at smartphones, right? Like we don't really want to talk about like smartphones, but we all, support slavery necessarily if we have a smartphone.
Yeah.
Or like, technology in itself, like all those minds that like produce the elements that are necessary, like to build that fucking smartphone is
yeah, and even still the assembling, like there are laws of course, but
yeah,
it happened countless of times where people checked the factories and
oh yeah,
that shit not good.
Nah, we live
not humane at all.
No, well, no whatsoever. We live in a really weird like dystopian state, especially because it's like such a, we only, you don't mind what's out of sight, like that's I mean, I forgot the exact saying, but like it's the same gist of it.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Like same with the sea, like how we're treating the fucking oceans, and how we are in a grocery store looking at every product like, oh, I'll take it. But
Yeah.
not seeing where the fuck it comes from,
Yeah,
especially with the meat.
yeah, but also with vegetables. I mean, like avocados, like they don't grow here.
Oh yeah, and avocados is also like a whole. It's creating a war
Yeah.
down in South America. I mean, and it's all those things that we don't
But they
think
taste
about.
so good.
But they exist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I want to put them in my face.
exactly, man. And
By the way, avocados overrated. Like I'm a big fan, but they're hella overrated. Like they're good, but they're not that good.
yeah, and they also get bad super.
Yeah,
super
like
quickly and
fuck
shit.
you all who fucking praise avocados. They're good, but they're not that much better than any other vegetable.
Yeah, but we always call it, it's a supernatural. It's like,
And
like
it's also
the
called a
fat is so
superfood,
healthy.
right, or something.
Yeah.
No, it's no.
Just madly disagreeing with that shit, man.
Yeah. Why do like I feel like either people like hate avocados, or they like love it. Like no, it's not that good. It's like there's not even that much taste to it.
Yeah, no,
That's good, but not overwhelmingly good.
I don't know, man. I think it's just one of those like trendy foods, that just suddenly popped up and like you see models eating it everywhere.
I saw fucking avocado lattes where they take the peel of an avocado, like peeled it out and then put like coffee in there. Where you're like, who the fuck wants to drink that?
I hate, like, there's a market for everything these days.
Yeah,
Like there literally is, and like we always getting told in like school, right? We grew up like, oh, you need that college degree, and then you're gonna be successful, and otherwise you're gonna be a failure. Like at least like that's, I think what's like kind of being impregnated. Like I heard this great metaphor the other day, right?
uh-huh.
Do you know that kids game with the chairs, like Travel to Jerusalem or something?
No.
Like where you like all dance around chairs, and then like you gotta sit, and then
There's one chair too little, and then one person stands. Yeah.
yeah, right? Isn't it weird how the dynamic changes from the first round where everyone is dancing, and like having fun and everybody gets to sit down, to the round where one chair gets involved and everybody is like, oh, fuck that bitch, it's my chair, And that's weirdly enough like the human mind, where it's like, oh no, my chances are getting slimmer,
Yeah.
But it's such a weird thing where we take the chair out of the game ourselves, like I think we could easily provide for everyone on this planet, but we choose to give it to a select group of people in this world.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it like that though. I feel like it happens. I don't feel like anyone made an active choice of, hey, let's divide it this way. That makes sense.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, how we treat Africa, like,
Yeah, but maybe it's gonna get better because Africa. Well, the thing is, like everyone's vaccinating right now, right? That's good.
yeah,
But still, like Africa doesn't have the money to vaccinate, to buy the vaccinations. But if Africa doesn't get vaccinated, and COVID is still in Africa, and it evolves there, then it can still.
fuck us all over.
What do we call it when
Mutate.
mutates? Yeah.
Yeah,
If it mutates there, then it can still have consequences for the rest of the world, because maybe the vaccines can't handle the mutation of the virus. So I hope, I mean, I'm not saying I think this is going to happen, but I hope we'll be more helpful towards Africa in this way. Or maybe even just patent-wise, that we look at different options than we do now. Because now it's kind of almost making the world more, well, making the world value solidarity more.
yeah.
Because we need to look after each other, else we're not going to get rid of the vaccine, of the virus.
True. Like that's from a global perspective, but I'd say like on an individual basis, I don't see that solidarity. Like on the streets, everyone is like terrified to help each other because they don't want to get the virus.
I don't see that.
To a certain degree.
I don't see that at all.
No.
Have you seen the park?
I mean, yeah, no, for sure. Like, I think like the human contact is still there, but I think like the helping of a stranger, if that makes sense. Like maybe that solidarity goes down where you don't know if that could also fuck yourself over. Like I'm just talking like hypothetical, like theoretically.
But you said you saw a change. That's not theoretically.
Yeah, okay. Like for myself, like even now, like I like if someone is in need, I'd still approach them, of course. But it's this, like, it's also subconsciously where it's like, oh, I don't want to get a virus either, you know? And I think that.
Yeah, but that's solidarity, right? That we don't get infected.
True, but then it's like.
So we don't also give another person the disease. It works two ways.
It works two ways, but like, I guess it depends on how you see it.
Yeah, true.
But yeah.
Man, I don't want to hug people anymore. And hugging is weird in general.
We started it. I don't know how it
I
started.
never got. You've seen them before. Those people with like cardboard some that says like free hugs. How can hugs be free? Because giving one is always receiving one.
That is true.
Yeah.
But it feels like I like hugging people. Like it's like a very.
Oh yeah, I like hugs too, but I just I hate the concept of free hugs.
I mean, like,
because they're not free. You give a hug and you get one.
That is true.
You can't give a hug without getting a hug.
But at the same time, like maybe it's about the process in itself. It's not about like giving or receiving. It's about like, you know, just getting hugged as a process.
Yeah.
I see your point.
You know, I was just kidding, right? Like, I'm not.
I don't know, man.
Jesus, Mr. Philosopher over here.
Well, it's about the process.
We're allowed to have fun still.
No, that for sure. That for sure. You sounded so serious while you bring it across stuff. Like, I don't know, does he really hate free hugs?
No one hates free hugs. It's just a concept to me. It's weird that free hugs. Because giving one is receiving one.
That's a weird concept.
But yeah, I don't know how else to put it. Like, get a hug here or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think you can bring it across.
Big news this week. Big news. Our main man. Who's our main man?
Nick Jonas?
Our other main man.
Donald Trump? I mean, I don't know.
Even better than Donald Trump.
I feel like I'm missing something.
Mustache. Bald head.
Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil, yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Phil got exposed.
Oh shit, what'd he do?
Well, the Cash Me Outside girl. What's her artist name now?
Daniela.
Yeah, Bad Baby now, right? That's her alias.
Yeah.
Bad Baby, she came out at the ranch. Dr. Phil keeps sending people to that they do some fucked up shit over there on the ranch. Where they don't let people sleep for a couple of nights and don't feed them well and don't treat them well.
Oh.
And Dr. Phil responded to these allegations. And he said, yeah, well, I'm not affiliated with the ranch. I just send people there. It's not my responsibility what the ranch does.
That is the fishiest thing he could have said. That's like admitting to it and putting the blame away from him.
Yeah, that's like the worst answer you can give.
What the fuck?
And you refer them there. Like, I would hope you at least know what the fuck is going on there. You keep saying, the ranch. It's such a meme even to send people to the ranch.
Yeah.
And then to say like, oh, what they do over there is not my responsibility.
It is, because you send him there, you bitch.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's the channel who sends him there and he has to say it, but he's the face of the channel.
Yeah, you're still an enabler.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I don't know, because I kind of thought like, you know, when YouTube came up, like, oh, Dr. Phil had his best time, you know, like, of course he was still making hella cake, but views were going down, and then the Cash Me Outside girl actually boosted him.
Yeah.
And also kind of, I think, showed the Dr. Phil team of, hey, maybe this YouTube is the way to go. You know, maybe we should make more YouTube content, which they did. And now that same girl is exposing him.
That's so funny. Like, it really went full circle.
Yeah.
She revived him, and then she's gonna bring him down.
Yeah, but to be fair, this dude has been on TV for so long without being cancelled.
That is true. And honestly, like, I think a lot of those, like, I mean, we saw it, like, was it last year with Ellen DeGeneres, where, like, the whole claims cover coming out?
Fuck Ellen.
Yeah,
fuck
but
Ellen.
Isn't that weird how we have all these, like, people in pop culture having their, like, primetime TV shows, and then all of them seem to be fucking weird in the end? Like, not all of them, of course, but, like, most of them? I also
well, most in general talk show hosts are pretty awful people in real life, I think. Most.
Yeah.
Because I also think like the one that always laughs so ridiculously. I think that's Jimmy Fallon, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Kimmel. The other one's pretty cool, but Jimmy Fallon,
Yeah.
that dude also has like an alcohol problem and is aggressive as fuck and shit. Like that's and then he always pretends to be this nice guy, which of course is his job, but still it's kind of weird to me.
Very. I was listening to this Joe Rogan podcast the other day, and with this dude who worked at Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
And or Sunday Night Live, I don't know, like
Saturday Night Live.
Like that is a really famous like program, and of course like it dimmed down now. Like I don't think it's at the state where it was back in the day. But he said that like the people who worked there were treated like ass. Like everybody hated the job. He was a comedian there, like also an actor. And his like whatever he wrote on sketches, like on his computer, he heard it in the meeting after without telling anyone. So basically they looked at the computer, see what everyone is working on, take those skits, and don't give people credit for them.
Jesus, that's so fucked.
And then he also said that he saw like people like high up that work for like the channel, I guess. That they constantly had like prostitutes and like pill problems and everything, right? And they were Gucci. They were not to be touched.
Jesus.
And like that whole Hollywood type of deal is so strange to me. Like that whole thing just seems very sketchy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's sadly it is the way, and it's really fucked.
The head of entertainment, you know. I mean, now I'm glad that they don't have as much power as they used to.
Yeah, but that's kind of always the case, right? Where the real people making it don't make the most cake of it or get the most recognition, even with like record labels.
Oh yeah.
Because you always need to have the investors, right?
Yeah.
Well, not always, of course, but if you want to go a specific route, then you need investors.
Yeah.
And they're gonna fuck you over. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's bizarre how like at least like 2-3 stories a year happen where it's like a music artist. Oh no, I hate my label. You know, they take all my money. Or like even I remember it was really bad with like YouTube a couple of years ago with Machinima. I don't know if you remember that.
Machinima?
Machinima. That was like one of like the biggest YouTube networks at the time.
Machinima?
I think so. Do you know the name?
Bless you.
I think that's what it's called. And they
I didn't hear
it. They signed like all the big YouTubers, I think even PewDiePie and stuff.
Oh.
And they all took hella percentages. And then like I remember like 2000, I don't know, 13, 14, everybody did like a video, why I'm out of Machinima, or like a shit, you know, and like everybody had the scandal going on.
Huh.
And even now, do you know All Gas, No Brakes?
No.
No? The amazing dude who like documents America's underbelly. That's what he's calling it. He's like going through like these weird ass conventions like Flat Earth or like Bigfoot hunting and shit, and like just documents it. And his entire channel and show got also taken over by this label. Like he signed for them because they gave him like a van and like $4,000. You know, and he said, "Yeah, fuck yeah," you know, like young dude, trying to document, have fun. And now they taken all of his profits from his YouTube, from his Patreon. He doesn't earn a single cent anymore. Jesus. And they cut him out, and he quit the show and shit. But like, how fucked is that?
Yeah.
Always, if you sign a contract, always
get a lawyer.
Read everything and get a lawyer.
Yeah. Get or you to call someone who knows shit about law.
Yeah. Don't get fucked over, and it's so easy to get fucked over in that position.
Yeah.
It looks so shiny and so like, oh, you know, this is my breakthrough, and then you never know what happens.
Yeah, people don't give a fuck.
Yeah. But I gotta say, like, you know, having like doing a statement like that, like, oh, my label fucked me over, also brings you a lot of media attention for the good, you know, because people are like, oh, that's fucked up, and they support you more.
Yeah, true.
So in the end, what is worth?
I wouldn't want to choose to go that route. But yeah, it's a nice way to come back.
Yeah. And it's good that it happens that way, you know, like it helps individuals.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's also good that shows that just because you're famous or you're talented, that doesn't always work out, or not everything is all sugar, spice, and everything nice. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's also a nice reminder for people.
Oh yeah, and it needs to be. You know?
I think I can't remember the study, but the study actually showed that people who actually embrace darkness in their lives are on average happier than people who don't.
Embrace darkness in what sense?
Yeah, like that was just the line I read, but how I interpret it is maybe people that accept that, hey, bad things happen. Like not everything has to go perfectly, if that makes sense. Like, hey, sometimes life is shit, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Other than always trying to do better and being let down by the bad things in your life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, and maybe it's also like an anxiety factor. Like people who aren't scared of the dark live happier because they have less anxiety than people that do. Like, of course,
Yeah.
everybody is afraid of something, it's like the old saying, but like, I think if you find a way to cope with it better than other people, and I think darkness is like a big one, you see worse shit happens, but if you can embrace darkness and say, hey, I'm gonna walk here, it's a beautiful night out, then I think you're less anxious than other people and therefore more happy. Because an anxiety
that's also an
does equal a
interpretation.
lot with happiness.
Yeah, true.
I'd say.
True. Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
But I don't know, man. Like, especially during COVID, I hear more and more like mental health, like that topic in itself. Like now, it's like it gets crazy awareness, of course, but it's really nice. I mean, not nice to see, but like it's crazy to see how many people like are affected by it. Like you more and more, I feel like, have conversations with people that are telling you about like, oh, I'm so fucked up because of that and because of this. But that's also like goes hand in hand with solidarity. Like we're all in this together, and as long as we're trying to look out for the people around us, then that's the best thing we can do these days.
Yeah, and I do think that even like that we just talk about mental health more nowadays also helps for people to embrace darkness. Like, yeah, that's also part of life, not feeling good.
Yeah.
It is not that people who are happy have figured out life and are always happy. That's not how this works. Like everyone feels a little down sometimes, and sometimes a little more than a little.
Yeah. And it's important to.
Yeah, and we had the one podcast episode where I also opened up about not losing a friend, but seeing a relationship deteriorate.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. Like I was debating whether to say it in the podcast, but I also wanted to be open with the people. Like, hey, not everything is nice either. For us, like we can always pretend we had this great week, but not every week is great.
No, definitely not. I mean, and it's always a progress. It's not gonna stay dark forever.
Yeah.
But don't give up when you're in the darkness. Because why would you want to stay in hell? Just keep going and punch your way out of it and find a ladder. But
yeah. Of course, easier said than done.
Of course it is. But I don't know. Like I think that's the way you need to see it.
Yeah.
And it's temporary, and of course life sucks from time to time. But if you constantly think that life sucks, then it's not going to be better. And you still gotta find ways to like be positive about shit, even if everything is shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And keeping your humor is also important.
Yeah. And putting, at least for me, like putting shit in perspective helps.
Oh yeah. That's a big one too. Where it's like it always helps to be neutral in a perspective, and also just take yourself and like, just third world country, not having food, no clean source of water,
Not being able to listen to Miles Valley podcast.
Exactly. Like that's the biggest one, honestly. But it's a rough one, man.
Yeah. And I hate when people say like, yeah, you can choose what happens in life, but you can't choose what affects you. And I don't like that, because I feel like you can choose what happens in life, but you also can choose what affects you, because sometimes some shit affects you and it's not a decision, but you can work on deciding if stuff defines you. I feel like that's a better way of putting it than affecting you, because I feel like affecting is also just emotions, and you can't always control your emotions.
That's true.
But you can, for yourself, make a decision or work on if you want the bad shit to define your life or not.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, we all make choices, and as you say, like sometimes something just hits us right off the curve and we act out of emotion. That's something that happens. But we like, I mean, it's this good saying, like, that 10% in life it's what's happening to you, and 90% of it is how you react to it. And I think that's very true. Like, even if you have an outburst of emotion, if you reflect and you're like, oh, you need to be honest with yourself, you know, and you need to be able to be honest with yourself. Otherwise, you're not gonna grow, and you're always like, you feel some type of way about yourself, you know. So I think deception of yourself is like one of the most dangerous things that you can do to yourself. Because what's the point of lying to yourself?
Mm-hmm. What is the point of lying to yourself?
Keeping your ego alive, you know. Like, I think a lot of people, ego is like a very weird disease almost that we have, you know, from birth on, that just keeps on building, you know. And like then on social media, like, oh shit, we get a like, you know, and that's like our ego is kind of like satisfying, you know. And it happens, but like it's how we cope as people with this ego to be as selfless as we possibly can, and really be.
But do we have to be selfless? Because isn't the thing that we are all egocentric, and we can also be open about it? Like, there is, you know, like, of course you do things to make others happy, but the crown base of that is it makes you happy that you make others happy too. Like, can't we just accept the fact that we're all egocentric? Why would you want to push that away?
No, I mean, I'm not necessarily wanting to push that away, but what I meant by that, like, selflessness in the sense of not giving our ego the space. And our ego is the one that's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you know, where it's like, I don't know, I think being appreciative of what people do, and of course, if you do something good for someone else, then feel happy about it, you know? But it's also about how you perceive it. Again.
Yeah. Talking out of the ass.
You know, as long as you mix a couple of words.
Yeah, Jesus.
Perception. No, but for real.
Yeah.
No, but we all are narcissists.
Did we just
to a certain degree? Like, that's, you know, like, that's also what you hinted at.
Yeah.
Right.
Everyone's egocentric.
Yeah. And it's really how we can, like, learn to control it. Like, that's one goal I have. Just learn to control my ego as best as I can. To a sense where, you know.
But that's, again, like, controlling your ego. Like,
but controlling my ego in a sense where, like, I dim it down. Like, I try to tame it. If that makes sense.
Let's just drop this. Just drop this.
Man, it's a good talk, you know. But look, we had some positive points in there, you know.
True.
Yeah. And I think, like, why dwell on the bad things? Just, I hope you're doing well, listener.
Oh boy. Oh.
Yeah, we're also 55 minutes in.
Depending on what we're gonna keep of the intro.
That's also true.
Do you want to keep that Vaseline part in, or should we cut it out?
I don't know. Do we, you know, we should probably keep our OnlyFans plans also, like, not in the...
Yeah, we probably should cut it out.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Well, with that, thank you for listening to another episode of Might As Well.
Yeah, keep your toes fresh.
If you want to see some of the golfing shit, check out our Instagram, Might As Well 420. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe, like, whatever you want to do. Actually, we don't care. But if you liked it, you know, if you liked it, like it. If you didn't like it, don't like it. Also,
or dislike it.
Yeah.
You know.
Feel
you. What do you want to feel?
Yeah. Feel how you feel. And don't be worried about us. And we'll see you next week.
Peace. Might as well. Get it in there.